and welcome back to Apes and Engines, episode 6. So today we have on WEB and Hachewie, and we're going to talk a bit about them and their channels and other stuff, obviously including bikes. So to go first, Hachewie, would you like to introduce your channel and what you do and what you're about? And don't forget your Instagram.
Cool. Thanks very much, GorillaBiker. Or should I call you Michael?
Either or is fine.
Michael, how are you, mate?
Sure, I'm all right.
Hard to be sure. Sorry to take the piss out of your accent, but I love it. Absolutely love it. We Australians, we don't have much melody in our voices. We're very flat. And to hear the Irish accent on more than a weekly basis when watching videos is just brilliant, and I love it. Thank you. My name is Matthew. My real name is Matthew. And my channel name is Hachewie. And that name I thought of one day when I sneezed. Hachewie. Pretty simple. My nickname growing up was Chewie because of my Dutch ancestry. My father called me Matthew, but couldn't say Matthew. He said Matthew. So my little sister called me Choo Choo, and I ended up with Chewie. Now, I couldn't use Chewie as a YouTube name because it was already taken. And one of my brothers, who we won't really talk much about, he used to call me Hachewie. And so I just typed that in as my second choice when I first made a channel 11 years ago.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's right. 11 years ago, I made a channel and I put one video on there. And that's what I came up with. So 10 years later, or sort of 9 years after that, I decided to actually start making motovlogs when I bought my latest motorcycle. And I bought a GoPro and mounted a microphone inside my helmet. And that's pretty much where it all kicked off from there, about almost 2 years ago now.
Very good. And so since then you have 204 uploads. Is that, it sound about right to you?
Yeah, I didn't realise it was that many. Yeah, okay, that sounds good.
Yeah,
2 years.
That's good going.
Yeah, I enjoy doing it. It is a hobby, obviously. And if I didn't enjoy it, I really wouldn't pursue it any further.
Yeah, I think
because it does.
Go on, sorry.
It does take a lot of time to make videos and edit the videos and then upload them to YouTube. I'm sure my videos don't take as long as Web's videos. I don't know where you are.
He's below you. He's below you on the screen. Yeah.
This guy's videos down here. He's got some editing skills, that guy. But I try to keep it simple. I do put in a little bit of effort with that sometimes, but I don't have that creative flair like most or some.
Yeah.
Check out his videos, everyone. But yeah, I do enjoy it. I enjoy the fact that I can speak my mind uninterrupted and hopefully get some feedback in the comments of what people think. Not everyone agrees always, but usually it's pretty agreeable. People are pretty friendly. It's good. Made some good mates.
I think that's the best part about having a smaller channel is that you do get a lot more people are actually interested just in your content and personality, because obviously they're not just finding you because you're huge or whatever else, it's just kind of like, oh yeah, I actually like what this person's doing, and it's funny because I'll talk about it in a bit, but I found you through Web and I found Reb through Reddit, which is it's funny because I don't even like Reddit. I never use it, and it just so happens that in that 3-week period that I said, sure, look, I'll give it a go, Web popped up, and I believe I might have been kind of like, there's no point in being here, it's all shit, no one listens, and then that's how we became friends. So it's funny that way, but I'll talk about that in a bit. I'll let Web get on and do his intro as well.
Hello, I am Web and I make videos on the internet.
You have currently 325 videos on the internet, believe it or not.
Yeah. So when I first started, what happened is that I started having a camera on me, to get people when they do bullshit in front of you to try and point my finger at them and say how much better at being a road user I am than they are, which I'm not. But so I started kind of taking videos from those clippings, and it was so when I first, so I lived in the UK for a long time, and then I came back to Australia. And when I came back to Australia, I didn't really have anything to do. I had no job. I had no nothing. So I was kind of like playing around with those footages that I had and stuff like that, and just started uploading little clips and stuff like that. But then I kind of evolved from there until maybe a year after I started doing kind of like daily uploads. A friend of mine was really keen on starting a channel on YouTube, right? So there's a really big Australian YouTube channel called Mighty Car Mods, and a mate of mine wanted to mimic this. So I, went along with him and I made him some videos and that kind of stuff, and he lost interest in it, but then I just kept making videos, and the only thing I could really make videos about was my motorcycling. So I stopped editing the shitty videos that I was taking with my like helmet camera, and like I obviously still use a helmet camera for making videos, but you know what I mean. And then from then on, just kept making videos. Yeah, it's pretty much the story so far.
Yeah, very good. And it's funny because I scrolled back through your videos, and I did this to both of you, and I think Chewie's are all there, but you obviously have quite a few hidden videos there, or like unlisted ones.
Oh yeah, so I've got a lot of stuff that is not relevant for anybody else. Like I'm pretty sure one of those videos is because I had a problem with my laptop, and I was showing a guy who knew how to fix laptops what was wrong with my laptop.
Fair.
There's nothing there which is even all interesting. Oh, there is one video there which was an introduction I made for a business which is owned by a friend of mine, which he's using for his personal business reasons. That's not really. People who subscribe to my channel are going to be like, okay, what?
But it's funny actually, because a lot of times those kind of, I know what you call them, channel analytic things, they got to get a lot of stuff wrong. So that's all. I was just wondering, were we missing some years of web goodness that we hadn't seen?
Web goodness.
Yeah, but I suppose for me, it's interesting because obviously I like both your channels. That's not bullshit. I watch them all the time, like every video you put out now. And I still have to start making my way back through Chewy stuff. Obviously I have done that for a few videos, but time is the big thing. And Web, I think I've seen a good chunk of your videos now as well. Especially obviously since, I suppose, when did we start talking? About a year ago anyway? I'd say it's 12 months.
I'd say so.
But it's funny because I suppose I better tell the story now. There's a Reddit motovlog channel, I suppose you'd call it. Huh?
It's dead. It's dead now. It's been dead for 2 months.
Tarmac
Japan was the last person.
Not surprising, to be honest. I found Tarmac Japan through there as well. Actually, that's a good point. There was 2 people, in fairness. So it kind of worked for me anyway. I remember when I went on there first, and it was like motovlogs. It's like, oh, awesome. I can ask people about stuff. Because I started my channel from nothing. I literally bought a camera. I'd never edited before. I'd never worked with sound before. I'd never done anything like that before. And I was like, okay, sweet. Motovlogs. Someone is going to help me. So I have a few posts up there. I think I might have deleted them. I was just like, no point. Asking questions and stuff. And then one day anyway, Web rocks along and puts up a post with actual like, hi, I'm a person and I have this question or whatever else. And I believe I commented on it, just be like, there's no point, just don't even bother commenting here because everyone's shit. And then we got to talking, and I was like, I'm just going to look at his channel. Looked at his channel, I was like, oh, this is cool, I like it. And then he started watching my stuff, and that's kind of how that grew. It's just similar enough to Tarmac Japan, actually. I think the only 2 people who ever properly replied to me on there was the 2 boys, Web and Tarmac Japan. Do you have any plans for your channels over the next year or whatever else, or do you just kind of go with the flow like most of us, I do believe? So Chewy, if you want to start again.
Yeah, I originally had aspirations to monetize the channel and try and make a go of it in trying to make a little bit of passive income. However, after the last, I suppose it's been a year and 8 months since I really started making videos, I've realized that's a far stretch for me.
I don't think so.
In subscriber count, and then just the content that people like to watch. I think, I don't know if my channel is too broad in what it shows, because I put on music, drone videos, motorcycle vlogs, And I don't know if I need to specify and get into one little niche or just keep being me and just showing my life, because that's generally what it is. It's kind of like it is a diary of my life and my thoughts and my feelings.
I don't think you need to narrow it down, to be honest. I think the biggest thing for you, and possibly Web as well, I got lucky doing bike reviews. That's how my channel started to kick off and grow, right? It's just, and I really do like doing the bike reviews. I didn't do them for the subscribers. I just really enjoy doing it. But for yourself, the thing that I think is impacting you is YouTube doesn't pick up the broader stuff as quickly. So I wouldn't give up on that. I think it's more from what I've seen, and obviously I've spoken to a hell of a lot of people about this now at this stage, but it takes time for people to start, finding you, and then you start tipping on. I couldn't find Webb's channel on Social Blade because obviously I think his username was originally different, and I checked West End Boy, but maybe it was different again. So Social Blade gets confused. So you're hidden from the world, Webb. Nicely done, sir. But you've gotten 18 subscribers in the last month. So if you look at back before YouTube picked me up and started actually suggesting my videos and stuff, I was getting like 2 or 3 a month. That was it. Like I didn't get. So literally, I'd wait, and then that's a cascading effect. But it has been for me and has been for everyone else I've talked to. So definitely don't give up and stay abroad if that's what you want to do, because at some point, the right people will see your videos and say, "Oh yeah, I like this," and then that'll just go from there.
It's been a bit of a learning curve for me to learn videography, to connect it to my music. And I think that's the main reason why I started in the first place, was to get my music out to people, which is really what I've been doing for the longest of time out of all of these hobbies that I have. I've been a musician since I was a teenager, which was a long time ago, over 30 years.
5 years ago.
I've been a musician. Yeah, I'm 46. You can see by the whiskers.
Oh, you don't look a day over
45 and a half.
I was going to say 42. Not a day over 42.
42. I'll take that. That's a compliment in my book. That puts me on, yeah. I like to feel 42 again. Yeah, so I'm building a music studio. My aim is to record and release my own album or albums and use this as a platform to reach people. That's pretty much what my ambition is with the channel.
Sweet. So you have a plan. That's more than a lot of people who I've had on, and an interesting plan. And to be fair, if anyone hasn't seen Hachewie's channel before, he's a talented dude, both for photography and music. So do go look him up. Obviously, links are in the description. And now we'll go to. It's interesting you brought up age, because we're now going to go to the ageless Web. I have no idea what age this man is at all.
I'm going to say 32.
I would think, yeah, I think probably about that, but like he could be older, he could be younger. He's one of those people who's like, I don't know, he's an age.
I'll make fun of the same joke that I have heard every single day ever since I started middle school. I was born in, I think it's New York City. I was born on the very first inaugural coming out day. It was the name of the festival. I was coming out of my mother. Other people were coming out for other reasons. So that gives an indication to my age. And the amount of times in my life I've heard this joke. Yeah, anyway. So now you're going to be able to guess my birthday years and guess all my secret passwords and get into all my accounts. You're going to be able to upload some decent videos.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. No. If you're not doing them, then I can't upload decent videos. You're pretty much
right?
You're pretty much bang on, Hachewie, yeah?
Almost.
Yeah, that's fair play.
Yeah.
Still ageless. I'd be interested to see what Webb looks like when he's like 50, just still the exact same. I'm maybe a grey hair.
I'm kind of look a lot like my uncle, who's currently 71, and he's still got the same hair, like same color and everything. So.
See, they're a family of vampires.
You should say that, because Van Helsing wasn't far away born from my mother's village, I think. But anyway.
Now I'm kind of concerned, not going to lie. So what about you, Web? Any channel plans for the year or multiple years going forward, or do you just going to keep?
Not so much channel plans, but I've got video plans, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of want to nail learning how to manually focus a camera, which I know sounds very simple, but it's very not simple.
It's not simple.
And yeah, so once I get my head around that kind of stuff, then I'll be able to like kind of start moving around subjects without things going out of focus and into focus and hold things. So when I first started making videos, I went out and I bought all the fancy stuff without knowing any idea how to use it, and it was a complete waste. So now I'm going back and I'm trying to learn how to use the actual gear I have in order to make videos, because some of the stuff I have is professional gear, but professional gear that's like maybe 8 or 9 years ago. 8 or 9 years old. I've had many beers, I'm sorry.
Quite all right.
The thing is though that 8 or 9 years ago, people were still making absolutely production level awesome videos, right? So there's no reason why I can't do the same with the gear I already have.
Of course, yeah.
So my aim is to stop buying stuff and start learning how to use the stuff I already have. Fair,
yeah, makes sense. Yeah. And by the way, I think Chewie will agree with me here. You're doing pretty damn good on the whole production level stuff. Like that, genuinely. If no one's seen Web's channel, link in the description. Go watch it. And the one I would suggest to get an idea of how good this guy is with cameras, check out his mail call #1 video. I mean, he made a mail call look like that. Just hats off. Not literally hats off, because my headphones are on over them and it'd be awkward, but theoretically, hats off.
Wait 1 sec. I have to make Chewie feel like the odd one out.
I don't know what's going on here.
Damn him and his good looks and his wit. Bastard.
Oh, shit, you have one. I did not know you bought
GorillaBiker.
Class. I don't really look, so when the orders come through, like, you can look at obviously where they're going and stuff, until you have to wipe them. I think it's 30 days for GDPR here. So I didn't see some orders came through and I just processed them. I didn't look at names because I feel like it's not my business. So thank you. Did not know you got one.
I have to take this off now because I don't wear hats.
It's a beautiful hat. That's a nice color too, actually. So actually, yes, this is an interesting one, right? So this is an interesting one for me. This is my favorite thing to talk about because I'm really boring and focus in one direction. Bikes. So Chewie, you've had a number of bikes. Do you want to run us through those bikes, why you had them? And obviously not we all, but I know and Web knows that your kind of your pinnacle, your top of the mountain bike is a Rocket 3. So would you bring us through why that is?
I'll start at the start and then I'll get to the Rocket 3. My first bike was a 1969 Suzuki TM75, which just went forever. And I rode that thing from the time I was about 5 years old until I was about 16 years old, when it finally had no brakes, no clutch. And I used to have to pull the spark plug out and get some sandpaper and put the spark plug back in to get about 30 minutes of riding time out of it. That's how much oil was going through the bore and how much smoke was coming out the tailpipe. Top speed, 65 kilometers per hour. Absolute machine. I stacked that bike into trees, into barbed wire fences, over the handlebars, flipped it in the air, doing jumps in the paddock. Yeah, I just loved it. My brother bought an RM80, so 2-stroke power band, and that thing nearly threw me off the back, and I was scared of that thing when I was a little kid. So I didn't really ride it much at all. I only rode it a few times. Had a lot of problems with the carburetor. Had to always clean the carburetor out to get it to work. I don't know anything about mechanics, though. I just pull things apart, put them back together again, try the best I can. When I was in my early 20s, I bought an XT250, which is a road trail. Top speed, 90 kilometers per hour. Yeah, I was a real gun. I've got a quick story of that bike as well. I was going down a dirt road to my brother's farm up at Yarrowitch, which is about 8 hours northwest of here. It's a 30-minute or so ride on a dirt road to get to his farm, and going over and over these hills and windies. And I came over this hill and all of a sudden it was a sharp right, and I had a bit of a paddock past the sharp right runoff area, and I went into that paddock and I hit a big tuft in the grass, flew up in the air. I was looking down at the motorcycle like this, landed with my cags on the tank, big cag slapper, and I stopped about 3 meters short of about 100-meter drop.
Ooh.
So I was lucky to survive that one.
Jesus.
And the only damage to anything besides my testicles was the front circlip that held the front sprocket on fell off. That was it. So after the XT250, I ended up with a Yamaha XS1100, which was my first road bike. And that was an 82 model. That was a bit of fun. I had that for a couple of years until I had kids. Then the bike wasn't feasible anymore. I sold that. And now I have the what have I got? A ZZR 600 Kawasaki, which is a 99 model, 20-year-old bike. So I've never had a new bike. I've never had a fast bike. I just love riding bikes.
The ZZR isn't slow.
No, not at slow,
all.
But by modern standards, it's not fast.
Modern bikes are I'm not going to say overrated. They're not overrated, but I think if you like bikes, you like something that's 20, 30 years old as much as you like something new, in my opinion. Would I have a new bike if I could afford one? Absolutely. I'd probably go buy a brand new Harley like tomorrow. But not right now. Can't do it now. Wait till the podcast take off, then we'll do it.
And yeah, so my ambition is a Rocket 3 because there's something about the size, the style, the torque, the comfort. I'm a big guy. I'm not as you're big. However, I'm 6'3" and a bit, 110 kilos of, pretty huge bloke. Compared to you, I'm a little guy. But yeah, the Rocket 3 just does it for me. There's something about the bike. I've never ridden one. Don't get me wrong. I might ride one and hate it.
No, I don't think so.
I think I'd love it.
I think you'd love it too. I like muscle type bikes, and I would have a new or old Rocket 3 tomorrow as well, just happily. But then again, I'd have most bikes tomorrow because I genuinely do have a problem. So Webb, your bike history.
I was given a Suzuki TS200R by a good friend of mine, which turned out to have a stolen number plate on it, which was fun. Anyway.
Nice.
I traded that for a 250 Honda, a CBF 250, made in the great Japanese country of Mexico. That was actually an all right bike. I rode it around and I dropped it a few times, and it was a 250 Honda, so it never broke. I traded that like straight swap for a CB400, except for a 1995 CB400. So it was one of the last of the carbureted ones. That thing screamed. I traded that for a CBR 600 F4i, which is rubbish. Not that F4Is are rubbish. They kind of are. But this one was more rubbish because it had 100,000 kilometers on it.
Oh, okay.
66,000 miles.
It's a lot for them,
second gear didn't exist. But it kind of went from... it had like an enlarged sprocket and stuff on it because it was like an ex-stunt bike. So it kind of went from first to wheelie, and then I just couldn't ride it. Like, it was just unrideable. I'd had enough of screwing around with really crappy bikes that just didn't work properly. So I went and bought I've got a Triumph Thruxton, 2014 model. Yep. I went and bought that. And then I went back to the UK for a while. I got the shits of not having a bike. So I went and bought myself an MT-07. I had the MT-07 for a year and a half. And then I sold that and came back to Australia, pulled the Triumph out of my mother's garage, and then rode that around for 2 years. And then I bought the Harley Davidson. So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
So you have two nice bikes now, like nice bikes. That Triumph is, I love that Triumph.
It is what it is. You know what I mean? It's not water cooled, but that's all right.
But see, I want my next bike. I want it to be air cooled. I think it'd be cool to have an air cooled bike. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously, look, if you're going for speed and power and all that, water cooled makes sense. But at the same time, if you just like riding bikes, there's no reason not to have an air cooled bike. You know what I mean? You don't need water cooled.
Well, back to what Chewie was saying before about the ZZR 600, the quickest person on a motorcycle that I know is a guy who's maybe 65 years old, ex-road racer, ex-Isle of Man, ex-all of that good stuff. He rides a 92 ZZR 600.
There you go. Chewie's emulating the legend. There you go. See, Chewie, you have a racer bike.
I didn't even know it. It just shows you that it comes down to the capacity of the rider more than the ability of the bike or the power of the bike.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Like, if you go up...
I've always said my bike has more power than I know how to use.
Yeah, and that's the case, I think, for 98% of riders. Like, I'd go up to... I've been up to Mondello to watch. I've never actually done a track day myself, because to get on a track day here, you need leathers, and to cloak myself in leathers, you must slay the largest cow known to man. And unfortunately, because it's also a zoo attraction, you know, like a circus attraction, they just won't kill it for me. So I can't get them. They're insanely expensive to get custom ones that would fit me. But you know, with that, like, you go up there and you see guys who'd be on the KTM 390 and they'd be overtaking people on, you know, Yamaha R1s just because they know how to ride a bike. And that's hilarious to me, that, you know, someone went off and bought just €25,000 R1, has all the fancy stuff done to it, and you can see them, they're barely lean it. And then you have a guy with a KTM 390 who has the thing slung, you know, the whole body is scraping the ground, not just the peg. So it's just, yeah, that's fun to see.
I went to a Triumph invited me. So when you buy a brand new motorcycle, the company then invites you to all these things. And I went to a track day, a Triumph only track day. And the fastest person there was on a street triple, not a speed triple, not a Daytona, it was on a street triple. Not even an RS or anything like that. It's just a street triple. Yeah. Yeah.
But they knew how to ride the bike.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's funny because I constantly get, not constantly, I'm over exaggerating. I get a lot of messages from people who watch my kind of, you know, my travel videos where I'm off in the West Cork and, you know, Kerry and stuff. And they're like, why do you have the phaser? You don't need the phaser. And I'm like, I have been on those roads so many times with people who cannot keep up with me on a full scale adventure bike. Like, the worst thing that could happen to the phaser on those roads is like a crack a wheel. It hasn't happened yet, fingers crossed, and there's like 50,000 kilometers on my bike now. And it takes, this is funny as well, because when I talk to people, like, say for instance, you know, Webb with the Harley, you went and put 1,700 kilometers onto that in a day, you know. It takes a long time to do a lot of mileage here, because those roads, like, it might take you an hour to do 60 kilometers sometimes. Do you know what I mean? So it's funny when I tell people, it's 50,000 kilometers. I ride all the time. They're like, that's not that much mileage. And like, come over here to West Cork and try to do it. It's a lot.
Well, it's the same as being in Scotland, right? You're stuck on all these winding roads where you're doing 40 and then a tractor pops up and you're like, oh, this is going to be fun.
Exactly that. Actually, speaking of which, and I know obviously, Webb, you have moved somewhere else for a time. Chewie, I think you've always been in Australia. But Australia is kind of, for me, it's like, you know, that pinnacle of motorcycling land. It's like Mecca for motorcycling. You have sun most of the time, you have good roads, and you have lots of them to explore. Like, even for me, I'd love to go off into the outback and explore that around. Even that trip Paddy Outback did before the camping trip, that was just so cool for me. But what do you think of that? Do you think, having been somewhere else, Webb, would you agree that Australia is kind of just a really good place for bikes?
No, fuck no.
Go on.
So I don't know how well you know Scotland. I don't know how well you know it at all. But I used to rove around, and I used to sit on maybe 120, 130 mile an hour, no problems, on the M207. Even I think I sat, you know, and you sit there on the motorway and it's all fine and nobody cares. You might see a police officer, good day to you, sir, blah, 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 blah. In Australia, you're constantly watching your speedometer. Doesn't matter what you are, doesn't matter where you are, even in the middle of nowhere, you're constantly watching your speedometer, because they'll get you. You try and do 2-3 kilometers over the limit, and in some states such as Victoria, that's enough for, you know, how much would that be in euro? That'd be €250 fine for doing 7 kilometers over the limit. Yeah. Not even miles, God. 7 kilometers over the limit. Yeah. So depending where you are, of course, but I would say that I was much more at ease riding through Europe than I was here. I mean, here you've got the sun and the camping and all that kind of stuff, but it depends on the riding as well. I mean, if you're on an adventure bike doing camping and stuff like that, that's not going to matter to you. But for me, and the way that I ride, and I like to get places and I like to get places quickly, it's very annoying to ride here. And it's also one of the reasons why I have the bikes that I have. I bought the Triumph Fluxton because before that I had the CBR 600. And I knew that CBR 600, I was either A, going to kill myself, or B, lose my license forever. Funnily enough, one of the reasons why I did move to Scotland was because I lost my license on my CB 400. So I was caught exceeding the speed limit by a little bit, and part of that is an automatic 6-month suspension of your license.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't happen the day that you do the offence. It's when you pay for the offence. So once they've given you the ticket and then you accept that and you pay it and that kind of stuff. So they sent me the ticket. I appealed against it, saying that you don't have enough data on me. They sent me back all this documentation saying, yeah, here's like 100 documents saying that we do. I was like, oh. I was just buying myself time in reality to arrange to move over to the UK. And so I did that. And that's one of the reasons why I own the Thruxton, is because owning a fast bike, even an MT-07, like an MT-07 is by no means the fastest bike you can buy these days, but it's still rapid, right? And because I was either going to lose my license again or kill myself. So no, I do not think that, unless you're, obviously in the middle of nowhere or not doing this type of riding in which you exceed the speed limit, I would disagree with that statement. And I would much prefer ride through France / Germany / all the interior of
Spain. Spain is incredible. We should all organise to go to Spain. I drove, it was funny actually because Toaster was with me and we went on holidays to Spain for I think it was 1 week. What's
Toaster getting her first bike?
I'm gonna keep pushing that. Like, give me time. It's gonna happen. But we went over anyway, and obviously I had to rent a car because she was with me and hadn't been on a bike at that stage. Otherwise I would have loved to rent a bike, but I'd booked a Fiat 500 because they were cheap. Obviously like really cheap for the week. I think I paid like €110 for the week renting a Fiat 500. But we got to the rental place and they were like, oh, we've no standard Fiat 500s left. The last one, the guy who was supposed to return it crashed it. And I was like, oh, okay, look, sure, I'll upgrade it, whatever. It's not that big a deal. And they were like, no, we have another Fiat 500. It's not that fast. And I was like, none of them are fast. And they were like, oh, well, it's a twin air, so its top speed is only like 144. And I was like, give me the twin air. Give me the twin air. That's a bike V-twin engine, essentially. Yeah, I'll take that. So, I mean, I rallied the living shit out of that car. And by the way, the guy was not lying. The top speed was 144 downhill. And I found that out on the side of a mountain. So it was funny, actually, Toaster had a great time with me in that car. We went all over the place. Drove from Barcelona all the way down Tarragona across to Tortosa. Absolutely beautiful country, but Tarragona is an incredible place for bikes. I was so the whole time out there, I just saw these guys in bikes, and I was like, why am I in a car? Those roads are amazing. So we have to go out there at some point.
Funny enough,
and not that much cops.
No, okay. Because my partner, she's from Fréjus, which is in the south of France, and I've never ever been to Spain. So that's interesting.
There you go. Yes, like, and even Spain, it's funny because I didn't get one. My dad actually got one over there, speeding ticket. And in Ireland and probably Australia, if you get the speeding ticket and you don't pay it, they will send you double the speeding ticket and then a court appearance. You know what I mean? So he got back from Spain and had been caught speeding in a van of all things. And I think it was a €200 fine. And he actually didn't see it. He wasn't home. He was still working, so didn't see it. And by the time he got home, they'd sent out another letter saying, okay, fine. The fine was 200. Now it's €100. Please pay it. And he was like, I'm going to see what happens if I ignore it again. And then he got another letter saying, okay, look, 100 was excessive, 50. And he was like, I'm genuine. I'm going to see how far this goes. Got another letter like a month later, like, okay, fine, just €25, we'll call it done. He was like, you know what, I'm going to pay it. I feel bad now.
Oh, damn. If only that worked here. Yeah.
I know.
So I was doing 140 something in an 80 zone, which on a CB400 sounds like a lot, but it's really not. And it was $1,870 or something.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Which is probably like £4, but anyway.
And is there anywhere in Australia that isn't run by Nazis?
I think the further north you go, the less. That's a hard question, actually.
They used to have unlimited speed roads in the Northern Territory, but I believe they're gone now. I think they all have speed limits.
I thought they reinstated them after all the truck drivers kept falling asleep and crashing.
I'll have to check out the Google for that.
Surely to God you couldn't go that fast in a truck anyway, no?
Oh, some of those prime movers, once they're moving, it's momentum, right?
True, I suppose. Yeah, true.
And when you're doing 8 hours of flat nothing, you know, the difference between 150 and 130 kilometers an hour is, I don't know, maybe half an hour, an hour.
Yeah, it'll be a big difference over long distance. Yeah. Jesus, those trucks can move that fast. That's kind of terrifying because I've seen those, those shows in Discovery where those trucks are going. They're like, those are big trucks.
Oh yeah. I've actually got some of the I got some footage of passing them when I did the trip to Mildura and back, when I did the 1,000 miles in a day. And yeah, they come up and they're moving. Wouldn't want to stop one.
No, God, no. So
130 kilometers is now the maximum speed on 4 highways in the Northern Territory.
Oh, right.
Really? I thought that all those guns enthusiasts use their gun enthusiasm to make them repeal that. I guess not.
Use their gun enthusiasm. That's a good way to put it. So, right, you have your Triumph and your Harley. Are those your in-game bikes, or do you have a kind of an in-game bike like Chewy?
I want Lawrence of Arabia's Brow Superior.
Oh, that is a good end game. But of course, he comes up with something like that, huh? Jesus.
I own a few cars as well. And one of them, I currently own a 77 BMW 3 Series and a 77 BMW 6 Series.
Nice.
And they're fine cars and all that kind of stuff, and that's all cool and that kind of thing. But I want to be the kind of person that kind of like rolls around in like a 30s Ford or like a 40s Ford. Because the way that I see it is that people see old cars like this and they're like, oh, look at this complete nutter rolling around this old car. How could you ever do this? But if you think about it, all the people that grew up in the 30s or the 40s, this was a brand new car to them. This was a luxury. They were privileged people to have this kind of stuff in their life. So I don't see any reason why I couldn't daily ride a 30s bike.
No, you definitely could.
A modern bike, you know what I mean?
But
so yeah, that's the kind of thing, that kind of flair that I aspire to, I suppose.
Even with the as soon as I have the Magna fixed, the Phaser is going to probably need a month off the road because I need to do a lot to it. You know what I mean? That bike it has a hard life. But like the Magna, there's absolutely no reason I can't ride an 87 to 80 once I make one or two comfort modifications, and that's not the bike's fault. That's my fault for being too big a bloody human. Thanks, Mum and Dad.
Well, you also got to remember the Magna was designed for the Japanese public. Usually, Japanese people do not sit to the same stature.
Generally, no. Yeah, in fairness, I think I'm outside the bell curve almost everywhere for design and whatnot. So your in-game bike is a really old bike. I like that though. That's good. That's a good.
Just something really rare and expensive and stuff that is made to be used every day, but people seem to have some kind of like halo around just because of, I don't know why.
Well, like as soon as I can, my daily car will become, so myself and my dad co-own a 1981 Mercedes 280 SE. I think I've told you this before, Web.
You should have, yes.
Yeah, that we restored with alongside one of my absolute best friends, Shemek, who's a Polish genius for everything mechanical. So as soon as I can, sorry.
Is there anything Polish people can't do?
No, absolutely nothing. Like they're seriously some of the guys who I've met over the years, because obviously when Poland was joined the EU, a lot of them came to Ireland to work, and some people see that as a negative. I don't. I think some of the people who've come over, they're absolutely incredible. Like Shemek, I have learned so much from that man mechanically. Like if people ask me all the time, when I'm making videos, I'm just like, this is how you fix this or whatever else, right? How are you doing that? I was like, actually, the funny thing is, this is when I'm videoing them, it's generally the first time I've done that, generally, unless I call it out as I've done it before. And most of the time, how I figure stuff out like that is if I'm like, okay, I don't really get what they're saying in the manual, I don't really get what I'm finding online, I'll just ring him and be like, hey, how'd you do this? And he's like, oh, yes, of course, the very rare 3 ever made main jet that you can do this. You have to turn it 1 3/4 times counterclockwise and then spit on it, and then it's perfect. And it's like, oh, perfect. Not going to ask how you know that, but cool. That's the kind of they just have this insane knowledge from growing up in an area where they actually had to make things work. And I think a lot of people have lost that. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, well, I can buy a new one, so I'll just buy a new one.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I think that leads to a lot of the problems we have these days with just consuming everything
all the time. Yeah, and it's funny actually, because that's kind of what draws me to older stuff. Like, my Phaser. The only reason I owned the Phaser is because it was my uncle's and it was there. That was like, the stars aligned, and I was like, perfect. I'm gonna buy that. Like if it was me, I would have definitely bought something older. And even people now are always saying to me, hey, you can definitely afford a new bike now, can you? Which I can't, by the way. But also, I don't think I'd buy a new bike. I'd get another bike, like an older Harley. I'd love a 90s Sportster, 90s Road King, something like that, Evo engine would be cool. Because you don't need that type of bike fast. For me anyway, I just don't need it fast.
No.
The Phaser is a fast bike when you want it to be.
Well,
that thing,
really.
Yeah, exactly. When you go above 10,000 RPM, that thing is fast. But actually, speaking of which, right, it's funny because I kind of wanted to try have this planned, but obviously that doesn't work. But we did kind of fall onto what I wanted to speak about a bit. Excuse me. And that's your opinion on kind of new bikes that are coming out or have come out. So we know Chewie likes the Rocket 3, the new Rocket 3. But I think as a general, what do you think of them? Because obviously I've made the video. I don't know, did you guys see it? I think you did actually both see it. The likes of the BMW R18, stuff like that. I think it's interesting the way some are going. Like I really like that new Aprilia, the 600. That's I think that's a really cool looking bike. But what do you like? You own a couple of newer bikes, Web. So what do you think of sort of modern assist and cruise control, all that? Do you think it's good, or do you think it's necessary? Do you think it's just adding extra cost to bikes that doesn't need to be there?
Well, I optioned my bike with cruise control, so it wasn't with cruise control, but I optioned it because I thought I'd be doing a lot of really long trips. And then this virus happens, and now I'm not. But yeah, that's a really hard one because I do. So the current bike has ABS. I think that's a good feature because I'm not a good rider at all, right? I'm a really bad rider. And I do believe that ABS will save my ass. Although, all my other bikes have obviously not had ABS and it hasn't been a problem, but, heavy bike, that kind of stuff. I guess it's the same with cars, maybe. Well, not really. How do I put it? So look at the modern driver, right? I have all these brand new motorcycles, but I've never owned a new car. The newest car I ever bought was a 2003 Clio Sport, right? So that's the latest car I ever bought. Yeah, it was pretty good until the timing got broke. But anyway.
Yeah.
So I feel as though everybody, when they're learning, should, in cars anyway, not so much motorcycles, should learn how to drive a car with a manual transmission, preferably with no synchros in the gearbox, just so that you kind of get a feel of what it's like to have a car to be vulnerable, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
Modern cars, and motorcycles not so much because a motorcycle is inherently dangerous. You are inherently vulnerable. Sorry, I've had too many beers.
That's all right.
A modern motorcycle is 100% more forgiving than an older motorcycle. However, a modern motorcycle is still 100% less forgiving than a modern vehicle, like as in a car or a truck. Therefore, any motorcycle you jump on to learn how to ride is going to be a benefit over a vast majority of the population. If that makes sense.
Nope, those. Chewy.
Should you learn how to ride an older bike compared to a newer bike? I don't know. In the future, you're going to be riding older bikes or newer bikes. If in the future you're going to be riding older bikes, well, you're going to learn pretty quickly anyway. So therefore, what's the difference?
That's a fair point actually. That's interesting. That if your plan is to ride older bikes, then ride older bikes. Yeah, like for me, absolutely none of the bikes even that I'm currently looking at that I'd love to buy have any assist. Like the Magna is a literal time bomb between your legs the whole time. Do you know what I mean? And it's actually funny because one of the biggest problems that it's everyone says, oh, second gear goes. It's like, of course second gear goes because everyone basically drag races on second gear. I skip second gear and then I drag race in third gear. It's a much stronger gear. So it's fine. And if second gear ever does go, I'll just rebuild them out of titanium or something. But so that's interesting. That's an interesting point. Ride what you plan on riding, I suppose. It's funny though because my recommendation to new riders, and I have a bit in for this at the end, but just to touch off it, is buy a bike that you don't mind crashing to start off with, because if you buy a brand new bike and you drop it, it's going to cost you like at least $1,000 to fix it, even if it's a scratch. Whereas if you start off on like an old 600 Bandit, which is kind of the go-to bike here, if you drop it, generally it doesn't matter. You're not going to fix it because it's like, oh, it's made from pig iron and steel, so just pick it up and it's like brush off the dent and on you go. So yeah, that's what I'd start off on.
I would start on the shittiest scooter you can possibly find. I would crash it 500 times because that's how you get better.
Yeah, exactly. Like Chewy when he nearly went off a cliff.
Yes, exactly.
And what about you, Chewy? What's your opinion on new bikes as a generalization, without going too much into models? Because I'll get lost in models. I'll just go for all day.
I'm a moron with knowing anything when it comes to any of this stuff. I'm a mechanical moron. I just do what I can to keep my bike on the road as cheap as possible. I'm all for safety features on bikes. I would love to have a cruise control on my bike. I don't think an automatic gearbox belongs on a motorcycle for some reason. It just seems to irk me. I agree with what Webb said about learning to drive manual, learning to drive without
definitely
any assists, so that when you do have these assists, they actually do assist.
Yeah.
Whereas if you become reliant upon them, then you have no skill when you don't have them. So yeah, I think horses for courses, man. You want to be a boy racer and ride a bike with all of the electronics, go for it.
Yeah.
Have fun. I've never ridden a bike with electronic, or never owned a bike that has all of these things. I've only ever ridden the bikes that have got no electronic assists at all. And you just got to learn how to use the brakes, I suppose, and not go too fast into corners.
Yeah, 100%. And it's funny that you said that as well, because it's when assists aren't assists anymore. That's when I would be concerned. Yeah, is it just the norm? That's a very good point. Have you ever ridden? I have already ridden an automatic bike with DCT.
Never.
I hated it. I could not trust it. That's my big thing, is because on a motorbike, and as you said, they are inherently dangerous, Web, but you still, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I always feel like I'm 100% in control of what's happening on and around the bike. Obviously, then that makes me be able to focus on what might happen ahead of me, like someone pulling out in front of you or whatever else. But when I rode the DCT bike, I just felt that 10% of control was taken away from me. It's like, you don't get to pick the exact revs you're at coming into a corner and stuff like that. And obviously, there's a lot of corners here, so you kind of want to know what's going on. You want to basically be like, okay, I know I need to be third, 6,000 revs here, and I'll be fine. And then the DCT might just kick up a gear, and you're like, well, no, I don't like this. You know what I mean? So it's, yeah, for me, no, I don't like them. I don't think I'd ever ride with one.
Even the Honda with the linked braking with the front and rear brakes, I don't even like that idea.
No, I don't like that either. It makes sense for big heavy bikes, but for smaller lighter ones, I don't particularly like it. Does the Harley have linked brakes actually, Webb?
It's got brakes. I
don't think they do have linked brakes. My biggest problem with link brakes is I like to put braided lines and everything, because I blew.
You'd need 500 lines.
Yes, I blew a line before, so now the first thing I do to a bike is put on a braided brake line and everything. It's the first thing I go with bikes, even with the Magna. I put on the braided brake line, and then I redid the rear shoe, and that was the first kind of things I went after, just to get this mechanically right. But I think for instance, the surprise bike that I have in the shed that I can't reveal yet, the price for the braided set for that is, I think, about €100, which is really good. But if you price a linked system, it's generally about €600 to like €400 to €600, because it depends on how complicated the system is. It's insane.
Because I fitted on the front of the Triumph, I'm actually running a Honda linked caliper, and it's got 3 pots in the front of them. And when you apply the rear brake, it applies the middle piston only. So that means that when you're applying the front brake, it's only applying 2 pistons unless you apply both brakes, because it's purely mechanical. There's no electronic about it.
Oh,
so you've got here, if I can do this thing. So if you got yourself a Honda, mine's a Honda ST 1300. It's got, in the front brakes, it's got 6 pistons, right? Because 2 calipers, 3 each. The middle pistons are hooked up to the rear brake. So when you apply the rear brake, it's only applying the middle pistons into the front brakes, and that gives you 33% front braking when you apply the rear brakes. And the inverse is also true. So when you apply the front brakes, the rear calipers have, I don't know how many pistons, but it applies a little bit of them. It's all purely mechanical. What that means is that if someone pulls out in front of you or whatever, and you apply full front brakes, unless you apply the rear brakes as well, you're only applying 66% of the calipers you have available for the front piston.
Seems like a bad idea.
Yeah, but Honda engineers are a lot smarter than I am, so I'm just going to trust them on this one.
True, yeah. So to
Very
move off
valid
bikes
point.
for a bit, and I know we spoke about it at the start already, Chewy, about your music and your photography. Well, we didn't actually speak about photography, but your music. So you are a very talented musician. You can sing. I am not. I cannot sing, and I tried to learn the guitar many years ago, but then I started playing rugby and messing with cars, and I did break my fingers a lot. Rugby is vicious on fingers, I found. So I gave up. Yeah, it wasn't my main interest. I still would love to go back and learn it, because it's one of those things that I don't think I'll ever let go of. I think I'd like to learn the guitar, but it's really cool to see someone do the covers and stuff you've done, and it's just you're very good at it. So it's interesting because for me, you do your motovlogs and you have this something you're really good at, and Webb does his motovlogs, but his something he's really good at is videography, and we'll get to that. So it's a combo. But I personally really like the mix on your channel. But what got you into music, I suppose, and why I suppose the way you do it. What got you there?
Okay. I'll try and answer it short, succinctly. Led Zeppelin got me into music. Stairway to Heaven, the sound of the guitar. I fell in love with the sound of the guitar. So when I started learning how to play, the first song I had to learn how to play was Stairway to Heaven. And I would sit there for hours and hours and hours just learning that one song without really learning the theory or the fundamentals. All I wanted to do was perfect that sound. And I think for me, it worked, because that kept me in my bedroom when I was 14, 15 years old, sitting on my bed playing guitar rather than going out and drinking and other things with some of my friends who are now not even with us anymore because of their lifestyle choices. And so I'm really, music is a powerful drug, and that was the one I got addicted to as a teenager. So I would spend my time just perfecting the sound of the instrument, and that's what I loved about it.
Very good.
I'll just keep it there.
Fair.
Love it. I love music.
And it's funny because a lot of people say that to me, that like, oh, well, for instance, I want to learn the guitar, but it's not, that's clearly your main love. For me, my main love is bikes and engines in general, to be honest. So when we go fully electric, I'll probably just stop being alive. Won't be a choice. I'll fade into nothing, like a cloud of smoke, because I'll be like, well, my whole reason for working and existing is gone. Yeah, cool. But also your photography. So I won't go get them because they're actually downstairs. They're actually, your pictures are on the main mantelpiece in the sitting room of the house. Everyone likes them, by the way, housemates included. Thank you. Really good. But what spurred you to do those kind of giveaways? Because it's something I'd actually like to do, is get the Medite and stick pictures on and send them out like that, because like you, it's just I want to get my pictures out there. So what gave you that idea?
Yeah, I had no idea about photography or that I even liked it until I started making motovlogs. I bought a GoPro camera and started mucking around with that. And I did a wedding gig which paid cash in hand for a night, and it was enough money to go and buy a camera outright. So I just went and bought an entry-level DSLR and started taking photos. And within a couple of weeks, I realised I could actually take decent shots. So I pursued that a little bit more, and I take it with me when I go places. I've watched countless videos to learn how to use the camera for still photography. Mm-hmm. It's become my creative outlet. Music was my creative outlet until I was just playing in cover bands, and that kind of destroys your love of the creative side of music because it becomes a job, it becomes an income.
Yeah.
So music took over that creative void, and I've been doing that now for just over 2 years since I started photography. And to give them away, I'm giving them away purely for the thrill of, like you said, your family like the photos, you have it sitting, in a tangible, real 3D space in the world, rather than a virtual digital thing, which we look at a photo and we just flick straight past it and it's gone. You never look at it again. When it's on the internet, say Instagram, Whereas when you print them and have it there in front of you, then it's there forever. There's my children. I took those shots within the first few days of owning that camera, and they're there forever. It's something that I can. It's tangible. It's real. It's real once it's printed, and I want other people to enjoy it.
It reminds you of a time, and that's why I really like your photos as well, that you wrote that story on the back of it. Because, for instance, when I see the 2 photos I have up, the 2 photos I had in that podcast that I got framed, one of them was, camping, and that was an absolutely brilliant day. And it was funny because when I took that photo of the sun hitting in through the bike and stuff, and I mean, the sun's in the foreground, it should not have come out that well. It just did. I just literally snapped that photo and it came out really well. I was in behind the bike and I was like, oh yeah. And I was sitting, kneeling, doing something, picked up the camera and just went click. And I absolutely love that photo just because of the whole framing. Like if I'd planned that, it wouldn't have worked. You know what I mean? It just happened. And then the other photo that I got was down in my toaster was running in a kind of a race that I refuse to do because the kayaks aren't rated for my weight, so they just capsize and they won't get in a different option. So I just won't do another one. I did one, did quite well in it. Just won't do another one ever because the kayaks are awful. But that was a really good day because I got up and I got on the Magna, and at the time the Packtalk was leaking, so that's why the bike's actually after. I'm trying to get a new whole system for it. But I started it up, went down the road, and it turns out like the fuel had just leaked for the whole day. So I got down, like 500 meters from my house, and the bike cut out. But when it cut out, I got a shot of flames out the side. And it shot flames out the back, and there was a guy coming past, and he stopped and he was like, your bike's gonna fire. I was like, nah, it's fine, it's an old bike, it's fine. So I pushed that, I think 2 kilometers. I pushed that. That's a heavy bike, and I pushed 2 kilometers to the petrol station. I have never been so tired in my entire life. Filled it up, I was like, okay, this is going to go one of 2 ways. Either this whole day is going to go brilliantly, or this is going to be a nightmare the whole way down, and the bike's going to keep cutting out and whatever. So I set off. It was like 2-hour trip down to where she was doing that race. I got there for the end of the race. Magna worked perfectly. Saw her running over the line, and then after that, I jumped off and I made the 2 videos when I went to the three viewpoints in Killarney, and then backwards through the gap at Dunlow. And it was just such a good day, and that's that whole picture like that. It's just a story attached to it, and it's there forever. So it's cool. But yeah,
lovely.
So Webb, we're finally getting to your videography talent. How in the name of Christ did you get so good, or is it natural? Because I have a feeling it's natural.
I've been doing it for 12 months.
Natural.
Okay, so I did before this thing happened with the viruses and such. I had many jobs, and one of the jobs that I had, and one of the most long-wing ones, I was around people who were editing videos. That was part of their job, and that's what they did. So I guess I kind of just watched what they did, and over many years, somehow osmosis did into making my own videos, I suppose. I don't really see my videos as any good, but everybody else seems to compliment me on them, so I must be doing something right.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I think your videos are bloody excellent. Like, I showed your iron butt, the 1,000 mile. I showed that to quite a few people, and I was like, watch this. And for instance, Big J, D-Ron from the podcast as well, and Toaster, they all watched that and they were like, that's bloody incredible. It's such a good video, so well put together. And I was like, yeah, I know, and I have to try to live up to that. And like, it's funny because I don't understand how I have as many subscribers as I do. When I look at a channel like yours, I'm like, how in the name of Christ does this man have 100 and something subs? It's like, what is wrong with YouTube that something in YouTube hasn't gone, shit, this is excellent, show it to people?
Yes, but the thing is that you advertise yourself. I don't do any advertising. I don't have any Facebook. I don't have any Instagram. I don't share my videos anywhere because, to be perfectly honest, YouTube is an outlet for the videos, but I'm actually trying to teach myself how to make videos. Mm-hmm. I'm not so much interested in the whole promoting it to people or anything like that. Like, if you're trying to build a YouTube channel, which is a very different thing from trying to make videos, I think that as far as YouTube videos go, sharing them and the whole publicity and the whole advertising is everything these days. If you have a business, if you have a product, anything, it's all about showing it to people and saying, this is what I have, blah, 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 right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm terrible at that. I can't do anything like that. Like as soon as I make a video, I feel embarrassed showing it to people because I'm like, yeah, you know what, it's not that good. But then I think to myself, like, I'm not that concerned about it. You know what I mean? Like, I make videos, they make me feel good. Yeah, that's its job done. You know what I mean? I'm not chasing anyone.
At the same time, for you, I think once people do get in there, because you're like, you interact on YouTube, and that's a huge thing for someone who does build a base. You know, like Hachewie replies to everyone, you reply to everyone. You know, you actually have comments that are based in someone who's watched the video and had an interest in it. Like you get a lot of comments on YouTube like, hey, great, good job. That thing that was 30 seconds into the video was nice. And it's like, okay, you're coming here to drop a comment. And I appreciate that, because it's like,
thanks, Tom.
YouTube, yeah, Tom, yeah. The YouTube algorithm appreciates comments. So at the same time, if someone that takes the time to click on my video, hit like and say something, you know, I do appreciate it. But obviously for the likes of yourself, you actually have, or seem to have, you portray an interest in the content. So even when someone does come to your channel and your replies are always, you know, they're not just a generic yes, thank you. It's an actual thought out comment. So I think once people do start picking you up, I think you're going to have a good channel. Same as Chewy. You know, you're both interesting people who actually have thoughts to give in comments and replying to comments. So it's that, to me, that's the YouTube channel. It's the interaction.
Yeah, of course. But you've got to remember that you're one of the channels that I watch, and therefore I'm able to leave lots of really insightful comments of everybody else. Like, you know what I mean? No, but YouTube is a funny thing where I think people see YouTube as kind of like easy money. We all know it's very much not money or very easy money, but I see people that are putting content out there that are striving to make 1,000 subscribers and that kind of stuff just because they think they'll start making money from it. Mm-hmm. But I see people, and probably nobody that's watching this when it's broadcast or whatever, but there is one person, every single video he puts up, the first scene is a lot of words, and it says, even if you're not going to watch, can you put your slider bar, you know, for the watch thing to the end of the video? And to me, that just seems like, if you have to put that at the start of the video so that people kind of interact with it, maybe you should just start thinking about making better videos.
Yeah, that doesn't... That...
And ask people to do something for you, you know what I mean?
That'd upset me.
Yeah. Sorry, my drunken self is getting onto a tangent, but...
No, that's fine. This is what podcasts are for, is tangents. There's no time limit. You know, the funny thing about podcasting, it's great is, you know, you can see some people will watch 10 minutes and then 10 minutes and then 10 minutes and then 10 minutes. And then, you know, I've gotten messages that like, oh, I'm only watching 10 minutes at a time. And I'm like, that's absolutely fine. You know what I mean? That's what a podcast is.
I do that. Before this virus hit, that's what I did with all of your videos. You know, I'd watch 5 minutes, I'd get called away.
My videos are long, yeah.
Back to it, but now I've lost all my jobs, so now I have nothing better to do. You know what I mean?
I'll take that as a compliment.
No, it is a compliment. Oh, is it? It's not really the same amount of watch time anyway.
Exactly, yeah. But it's funny because, you know, even someone did say that to me, like, oh, is that negatively affecting you? And I'm like, I've said this so many times in the channel, and I don't know, do I come across as that word that means you're not real, not fake, the other one, facetious? I know, is it facetious?
Yeah, facetious.
One of them. I genuinely am not after subscribers. The fact that I've gotten them is great. I'm after, and I've said this so many times, interaction. Like even that 1K giveaway video I put up, that has like 150 something comments, and it's all interesting because I think I'll check afterwards and tell you, because I can't tell everyone yet, but there's like 30 something people have suggested, you know, a different name for the channel followers. I might never use that. I just think it's really interesting, and I'm going to pick a winner from that. You know, the tattoo ideas are great, and obviously then the outro group. Sorry,
how many times has Troop come up?
Troop, yeah, you got in there early. I think there's like 5 or 6 people who've said, "Oh well,
I thought I was smart."
Yeah.
I thought I was smart.
No, it is like, because it's a good name.
To him, man.
No, there's another really good one. I think it was Grom Trooper, Apelings. I think Apelings is like, yeah, that works. But we shall see. But
if you start calling me an apeling, I'm going to be thinking, oh.
I'd say that's the thing. I probably won't call anyone anything.
Yeah. You can
just-
be my tooling.
Yeah. It'll just be something I might throw on a T-shirt or something. Either way, basically the whole purpose of that was for me to pick a winner in a more interactive way, rather than just, drop a comment and I'll put you in a randomizer. When I did that for the 500 giveaway, like I said, there was people who came in who I have not seen before or since, and they probably just saw a giveaway on YouTube. Whereas now, even the whole point of that was to drive, and it goes to the slider bar thing. The whole point of that video was like, if you're here and you want to be part of this giveaway, watch the video, interact, and that's for me, that's YouTube. You know what I mean? I've met so many people through this and made quite a few friends. So that's what it's for me. So, and by the way, on the money, go on, sorry.
Speaking of giveaways, you two are both winners of my last giveaway for exactly that reason.
Yeah.
The previous giveaway I did as a random giveaway, and good luck to the winners. That was cool. You were one of them, by the way.
I got both sides. Like I was number 5, and number 4 and number 6 got picked.
Exactly. So it really wasn't fair. Whereas the last, I've only got 3 people who actually answered the questions from my secret video because they watched right to the end and read the description and actually could interact with the video in 100% way. And you two are 2 of them. And another fellow who doesn't even put videos on YouTube. He's a welder from the US. So,
and he just happens.
I'm happy to send them.
That's the real MVP.
Yeah. Actually, that's the thing that's made me happiest about the 1K giveaway video is how many people have sent me messages about the outro crew thing, and like people who have never once commented on a video. And this is why it's cool, because obviously there's a lot of people who aren't comfortable commenting on anything in public, which is absolutely fine. I was the same way myself for years on YouTube, like years and years and years and years and years. I'd never commented on anything.
I commented on everything. That's my problem.
But like, then you get these messages from people who are like, oh, I really love your videos. And, the comment that I'm not allowed to say out loud because that giveaway isn't. Actually, wait, this video will be out after the giveaway is over. So yeah, they put in the V4 is life comment. So yeah, that was cool. That was cool. There was like 30 plus people. Huh?
I thought micros were life.
Don't get me started on micros. I hate them. They're terrible cars. Terrible cars.
I had a K11 micro from all the way through Edinburgh, Glasgow, Kilmarnock. And I slept for 3 days in that micro through Chantilly, Paris, where I got mugged, and then drove all the way back to Edinburgh on like 2.5 tanks of petrol, because that was all of the euros that I had in my pocket left. Great cars.
No, it's hideous though.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, that's fine, but it was good because I was able to get home without having to resort to begging.
Selling yourself. You see, my issue with them is exactly that. And this podcast isn't a micro podcast, so I'll move past as quickly as I can. I could speak about micros for days.
I got banned. I got banned from the Retro Rides forum for saying that micros are shit. By the way.
Nice. It's my kind of person. But it's the lack of effort. And Nissan have great engines, right? Like Toaster drives an older Nissan as well. And I mean, I service all my own cars, all her cars, my family's cars, whatever. And that car has never given 1 ounce of trouble. And before it came into her hands, it was not looked after. And it's still, it was like that rescue dog that as soon as you get it, just jumps into your arms. It's like, oh, okay, I'm looked after now. This is fine. But it's just the lack of effort they put into their design. It's like, you know what? People are going to buy it because it's a Nissan, so make it hideous. Like the Juke.
Oh, yeah.
What were they thinking?
But. What year is Toaster's car? What year of model of manufacture?
Toaster's car, it's 2009 Nissan Note.
So 2004 was when Renault took all that over. So maybe it's not Nissan you have a problem with. Maybe it's Renault.
Oh, maybe they make Nissan was really ugly so their cars look better.
So mine was a 2003 K11 Micro, which was last of the JDM ones. 2004 was the first of that bubble shape that you hate so much.
Oh no, I hate the older one too. Lack of effort.
Oh, that's fair enough. Cool. I was just trying to say 2004 is the Renault influence.
Yeah, when they got all bubbly and even worse. Yeah, because in fairness, the older one, at least, like if you saw them rally cars wise and they're all stickered up and stuff, they look pretty cool.
No, they're still shit. But anyway,
they're still shit, but they looked all right. So actually, what are we on to next? Trips. So we've spoken a bit about Scotland. We'll skip that one and that you lived there. But Japan, that was really cool. And your videos there, and I know you didn't put out like a billion or anything like that, but the ones that came out, I was like, I have to go there and ride a bike someday. That's for me, that's what trips are about. Trip videos are about, is I want to show someone. Words are gone. I want to show someone an area and make them want to ride their bikes there, or at least see it. Sure. So do you have any upcoming trips planned like that again to make me want to travel somewhere else, or what's your plans with trips?
At the end of May, I'm meant to be going to New Caledonia, which is a small Pacific island off the Pacific. So it's a small French island. I'm not going now because of the bans on everything.
Yeah.
But so the flights for that have been put into credit. So I will still be going to New Caledonia, and I will still be driving around a small French island on a 50cc scooter.
Nice. And videoing it, of course.
Yes, of course.
Sweet.
I'm figuring I'm going to take one camera and my drone. That's it.
Nice. Yeah.
Oh, and my GoPro.
Very
There's
good.
nothing cooler than walking through an airport with your helmet like hanging off the back of your backpack.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks you're like a professional, like, Red Bull stunt rider or something.
Well, they do with your helmet. If someone saw me coming in, they'd be like, "Oh, look, it's a safety officer with his fluo helmet." That's not the color I bought, and everyone always says that to me. They're like, "Why did you get such an ugly color on your helmet?" It's like it's not the color I purchased. I purchased like a darker than this orange, like a deep kind of sunset orange where the yellow is. That's what I wanted. It looked class. It was like tiger, and the grey was a different color. So it was by far and away a better helmet. But I bought it, and they emailed me and went, "Oh, we don't actually have that one, and the sale is over. So either A, pick a different color and pay €60 more, or we'll send you this one, which is the same design basically." And I was like, you know what? I need a new helmet. Just send it. But I literally, as soon as I get to a point and I'm like, okay, I need to get a good looking helmet, or this is a good looking helmet, I'm buying it, because you know, especially now with the rear facing camera, I get so much abuse. People are like, why the hell do you have like a road safety person's helmet? I'm like, I don't know. It wasn't my fault.
There's an easy way to like it.
I'll send it to you when I'm finished with it if you want. Just put in new padding on the inside. And what about you, Shuey? Trips, or any upcoming trips, or trips you'd like to do?
Yeah, a friend and I have a friend living in Singapore, and we're talking about doing the Vietnam, Cambodia type trip on one of those guided tours. Mm-hmm. So I think they're 300cc cruiser bikes that they have. I think they would just be hilarious and so much fun.
That would be class.
It was meant to happen this year. However, we put that on hold until next year.
Yeah, fair. Like everything. I think everyone's put their entire lives on hold this year. So, yeah. And actually, that was the next thing coming up. You're very good at leading on to the questions I was going to ask anyway. Is how are you holding up at the moment, the 2 years? Have your lives changed irreparably? Hopefully not. Or are you doing all right?
I wouldn't say irreparably. I'm being a working musician. I'm losing a lot of money right now, but I still have a stable job. So there's a lot of people a lot worse than me. Mm-hmm. I just heard Webb say earlier that he's lost all of his jobs. So I really feel for people who haven't got the income flow coming in that they had and have to pay the bills. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to. I play lawn bowls quite competitively. It's not something I advertise a lot. So much so that I've beaten some of the Australian players sometimes when I play.
Oh, really?
So I go okay at the game. I've applied for the state over 40s team to try and make selection for the state.
There's an under 40s
which was going to happen this year, but yeah, they do have now.
Okay.
Yeah, most of the bowlers are. The average age of the last Commonwealth team was 28.
What? That's cheating.
Okay. Yeah, I know. That's just the nature of the game now.
That's just taking on all those arthritic 70-year-olds.
I think So I'm really missing that male camaraderie and the competition. I've always been a sportsman. I played soccer, basketball, and lawn bowls since I was 4. So I've lawn bowls the last 16 years. the other sports from childhood all the way through. And I love sports. I love competing. I don't watch sports. I love playing sports. I love doing it. And it's that male competition. It's that innate urge that we have to flex our muscles and
to murder each other.
To be the hunter. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you might not think lawn bowls gives it to you, but there is a lot of adrenaline still involved. Anyway.
Oh, no, I'm
missing that
person
severely.
Yeah. Well, I hope you can get back to that soon enough. I don't know what your lockdown is like. I know we're going to be reviewing ours on the 5th of May, and I'd say they'll just be telling us, "Ha, gotcha, you're all locked inside even longer." And I'd be like, just tell me the truth. Please, for the love of God, tell me the truth, because I need to program it into my brain, sit down for 2 days and go, okay, I'm okay with this now. I can move forward with my life.
That's the same with me. I just want facts. I just want to know where I'm at.
Yeah, exactly. And what about you, Webb? Hopefully now this isn't too upsetting for us all.
Yes and no, not really. Like, I haven't lost all of my cash inflow, so I'm not destitute or anything like that. My entire next video is making fun of Hachewie because his state sucks as far as laws in that regard go, whereas mine is quite free. Yes. Hachewie is the kind of person who is quite upset by the restrictions that the powers that be put upon him, as any reasonable person would be. Yeah. And the powers that be in my territory are much more flexible than the ones that are in his state. So therefore, he gets oppressed and I don't. And I get to laugh at him because of that.
Yeah, well, I'm the worst out of all of you, I'd say, so I can't say anything. What's your territory there, just so I can move there?
The Australian Capital Territory. We have such attractions such as a giant penis owl and a fountain that sometimes works. So if you enjoy that, then you'll be fine.
I've always wanted to see a giant penis owl. What an incredible thing.
I'd just like to add to that, Webb, that your territory is within our state.
Yeah, there is that, but somehow I've worked out that I don't get oppressed and you do. So suck in.
Yeah, our restrictions are... Look, I get it. I get we have to protect people and stuff, but I just don't understand how me going out to my shed to do some work is going to hurt anyone. Like, go from my house out to 10 kilometers out to a completely empty shed with no one around it is going to, hurt anyone. Doesn't make sense to me. It's literally like, I think a lot of the rules here are made, and probably in your case as well, Chewy, since you're as harsh as us, I think a lot of the rules are literally like, okay, we need to play to the lowest common denominator. How do we explain to the idiot that doesn't understand this is bad that they can't do anything? You can't. All right, lock them in their house. So that seems to be the way they did it, just a blanket catch the silly people. Like the type of people who went out into 10,000 people gatherings on beaches and stuff. That's the type of person that they're going after, not us. So
we've been very lucky in this territory because the only cases of the virus that there have been has been because there have been a bunch of people that caught like a cruise ship and then got it. So they took all those cruise ship people and then put them in a hospital, and then everybody else is like free to do whatever, just don't go near the hospital. Whereas in Hachewie's state, like all the cruise ship people were like, oh yeah, we're just going to meddle within the general populace, and then everyone was fucked.
That's smart, yeah.
They let them out. It was crazy.
That's mental. Stupid. That's mental. So that Jesus Christ, I can't even fathom why you would do that in my head. Even if you're like, oh, maybe it's not going to be as bad as it currently is, you still don't take that chance. Just lock them on the cruise ship. Cruise ships are supposed to be nice. Not my thing. I'd never go on one. Yeah. So it's my idea of hell.
Oh, yes.
That's literally like, hey, you won a cruise ship thing. It's like, right, how do I not have to go on that? Because that's like, here, we're going to lock you on a boat, float you out to sea where you can't escape from all these people, and then give you this small room that's your only escape from all of these people. I'm like, no.
I'm making a pact with you right now. When you get to 1 million subscribers, you 100% have to take a 14-day cruise. And like the Princess's cruise ship, like the one that goes from like Ibiza to Mallorca, not like the good ones between the like French Charles or anything like that. Like I'm talking like the full old people version, right?
You know what? Even though I am like 99.99999 recurring % certain I will never get to 1 million, I'm still not willing to take that bet. That's how little I want to go on something like that. Jesus, no, I couldn't. There'd have to be like some incredible payoff at the end. Like, okay, you did the cruise, here's 100 million euro. Like, okay, that was worth it.
100 million euro and other people doing it and they're paying money to do it.
That's how little I think of it. No, I couldn't. Cruise ships, no. Jesus, no. So we've talked about the trips. We talked about the YouTube community a bit. Is there anything else you'd like to add to that about how it is? In fairness, it's a weirdly global thing. Like, I know people spotted all over America now. Obviously, people in Australia who otherwise would never have met, the UK, etc. It's kind of it's a bit mad when you think about it. Canada as well. What's your thoughts on that?
I've definitely made friends.
Either or.
No, I've definitely made a lot of friends that I would never have, and including you two guys, where I find, I don't know, it feels less judgmental to put my thoughts out there in this way, like a keyboard warrior would. They can type whatever they want. It's quite anonymous, even though this isn't anonymous, wholly anonymous, because people can see my face. I still have that certain anonymity of who I am, where I am. I can still keep what I want private.
Yeah.
So I can give out what I want to give out. And I've actually found that, I often put my foot in my mouth and say things that are a little bit opinionated or
that's what it's for.
But the reception's been pretty good. As you said, I've made a lot of friends, and it's a cool community of people. There's been a lot of support. A lot of people checking in on Instagram and Messenger and emails just to see that everyone's going all right. So, yeah, it's a good little outlet and a good community of humans that we've connected with.
Or humanoid life forms.
Yes, exactly.
What are you, Webb? Anything to add?
Well, with the way that people interact these days via the internet with all their actual real-life friends anyway, I just feel like it's more friends, right?
Yep.
I know people that live 20 kilometers away that I interact in the exact same way that I interact with you, and you're, 20,000 kilometers away, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Just, like, I don't know how to really put it, but I'm not, apart from you guys, obviously, and there's a few others as well, like Ian Landersman and those kinds of people. I'm not as involved, I feel. Like, there's a lot of inside jokes and stuff like that I don't really understand. But it's I guess it's the new world, isn't it? Like, nobody. I remember having like really long conversations with my father. Like, if you wanted to go and meet somebody, you had to go to the pub, or you had to go to the local ball or the dance or whatever. Whereas these days, you can just kind of follow whoever you want, whoever has the same interests as you do.
Yep.
Just and because of this virus, this is how, even if I want to speak to my mother, you know what I mean, I have to do it like this.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a new way of interacting with other people, and yet very, very isolated, because, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but it's interesting, actually, the isolated comment. I am not a particularly in-person, socially outgoing person. I put it that way. Does that make sense? Like, if you put me in a crowd, I've hearing damage, quite considerable hearing damage. But if you put me in a big crowd of people, I can't hear anything, because obviously my ear bones are fine. It's my eardrums are fecked. So if there's a lot of background noise, I just can't hear you. So it's very hard to, if you're, say, out in a group of friends in a pub or something, I find it extremely difficult to communicate, because number one, I can't hear you, and number two, I'm generally actually in a bit of pain, so it's not so good. So even, to meet new people and stuff can be hard. And I would not have met any other, say, Cork-based motorcyclists, or even the likes of Moto Dragon and what we'll grant to, without YouTube. So it's funny for me. It's nearly like, it's actually, I've gotten to meet people, and even in Ireland, I wouldn't have otherwise met those people in a million years, because as well, I'm a bit of a loner. So, all the like MCC groups and stuff, I'd like to go to events run by them, and I support them 100%. I'll go to all the bike shows and bike races and all that, but I don't want to be on a committee or anything like that. You know what I mean? It's just not my thing. So, yeah, for me, it's good.
Yeah,
Similar
I have
sentiments.
I have the problems, whereas one of the jobs that I'm currently not doing, but anyway, I have a lot of, a lot of with arranging and kind of being at events and that kind of stuff. And for that, a lot of people get to know me and that kind of stuff, but I don't really know them, if that really makes sense.
Yeah,
So being able to be on the internet, having people being like, oh, hey, look, this is me, this is what I do, this is actually me, it's kind of refreshing, apart from having this kind of professional persona in which this is your job, this is what you do. Okay, all of you people have questions for me because of my professional persona. It's nice to kind of be able to interact with people normally, you know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely.
Without having to worry about what the company thinks compared to what you think, etc.
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense.
I have similar sentiments with that with my professional life.
We've spoken about this actually.
My 9 to 5, which I don't really want to say what it is, you know.
Fair. Don't.
On my own channel and things. Just
he's a professional male porn star.
It's true. That's what he didn't want to say, but it's out there now. That's what he is. Look at that hair. That says it all.
That's why I got the rooster do. That's right.
Yeah.
The big cock. Sorry.
Fantastic. But the one of the last things I'm going to talk about before I do a bit of shout outs and whatnot. So we'll be under your 2 hours, Web, I would think. Your quick thoughts on the 1K giveaway. What do you like? Do you like how it's going? And if you win, would you pick a t-shirt or a hat or a picture? Whichever one of you wants to go first, I'll throw the coin into the air, whoever catches it.
I like the way that it's going. To be honest, I haven't read the recent comments, and I feel as though I'm going to have to beat everybody else that chose troop as an answer. And I'm just trying to think of other, like, what would you call a bunch of people that follow you? That's so weird, isn't it? Like a bunch of people that you have to refer to, right?
Yeah, it's a strange. You see, that's the thing. I would have never, ever, ever, ever in a million years thought to even think about it if it wasn't for Brian. Like, hey, you should just come up with a name. And I was like, yeah, why not? I'll throw it out there and see what the thought process is. There's only been one negative reaction so far. One person really didn't like the idea of it. Won't name names, but one person really didn't like the idea.
The thing is that you're happy that these people are viewing your content, but you don't want to speak down to them.
Exactly.
Trying to call them like an apeling is like, you are beneath me, when they're really not. Like, they make the whole channel, right? Because
without them, it's nothing. Of course.
Yeah, exactly. That's really weird. Gorilla Kings. Hello, Gorilla Kings.
Hello, superior apes. Actually, superior apes, because you do have lesser ape. A gibbon is a lesser ape, so.
Gibbons are great. What's this all about?
No, that's just so you have your greater apes, which are your gorillas and massive creatures, and then because there's only one lesser ape, which is a gibbon, because they're small. I assume that's why they call the lesser ape. I
think they're better in heart. I think they're a greater ape in heart. Actually, to choose between the hat or the t-shirt is very, very simple for me to answer this question.
Because I
already have the cap. However, I would order the GorillaBiker shirt in black.
This one? Or the other one?
Yes. But for Michael, the other Michael.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Very good. Yeah. No, I see that the problem is I think I'm going to have to force the giveaway of pictures at some point because no one ever picks the pictures.
Was that an option?
Yeah. Oh, it's an option.
I wasn't going to pick the pictures.
What about you, Chewie? What do you think of the whole idea?
Yeah, being a photographer, I'd pick the picture because I think it will last longer than a t-shirt for me.
Actually, the t-shirts are really hard wearing. I mean, I wear the black one all of the time. It's comfortable and it's actually, you buy like an expensive t-shirt in a shop and you wash it 3 times and it's ruined. That one is absolutely plugging in. And this one, I wear this all the time. Like, this is my around the house top. It's just comfortable and I like long sleeves. So. Yeah,
I like art. I'll stick a piece of art on the wall. Not that your shirts aren't arty, creative. And I do love orange, being a Dutch person. So I like the one you're wearing right now.
They discontinued the orange.
Oh
well. I think they discontinued the orange.
They crushed my soul.
Buy a white one and dye it orange.
Yeah.
I think it's a really cool idea, man, because you are getting that interactivity with your channel and you're getting people involved and And yeah, I like how you've got an outro crew on your videos, especially your longer-ish videos, which
Yeah.
18, 17, 16, 17, 18 minutes long.
Yep. They all come out around about that.
I've fallen asleep to so many of your videos, man. I've had to watch them twice because usually when I watch them, it's late in the afternoon after I've come home from work and I've had a beer and I just go, I'll just watch this video.
Bang.
And I'll watch it again when I wake up. So, however, yeah, I love the outro crew idea. Please don't take that in a negative way either about falling asleep.
Not at all.
I've fallen asleep to Web's videos as well.
What? No.
I've fallen asleep to my own while I'm editing them.
I'll just have to do better next time.
Like the I probably won't in the name selection thing. Like I said, I probably won't ever actually use it because I do think it could come across as like a bit of a speaking down thing, as you said, Webb. But I still think it'd be cool to pick one and just it's there in the background if anyone wants to use it. And I suppose that all kind of comes from the whole Shade Tree Army thing. I think that's a really cool term that he has, and he sticks it on all his t-shirts as well.
Yeah, lots of videos have
Army.
that. Yeah, lots of them have that same tag Army at the end of them.
Yeah.
The big YouTubers.
The GorillaBiker Defense Force.
And then you do it with Dan, who just calls all his followers dickheads, which I like too. But I suppose, look, to wrap it up, number one, thanks very much for coming on, lads. Much appreciated. And if you ever want to jump on a live stream as well, those live streams are completely, whoever wants to come on them live, do. So there will be one next Saturday where I'm announcing all the winners from the giveaway. So that'll be out before this is out. So if you want to jump on that, more than welcome. I know Paddy likes coming on them, but if you want to come on, have at it. We'll just chat about some shit and go from there. Is there anyone you'd like to shout out?
I want to say g'day to all the Australian moto vloggers out there. Way Pride, you're going to go first. You're just a nutter, and we love you. I'm so happy that you can get back on Perry and ride Perry again. That was a thrill to see you back on there. And,
absolutely.
Moto G Spot, you're a cracker, mate. Love watching your videos as well. I will say hello to Ian Landsman as well because he just interacts with every single video. He's fantastic. They're the first few that come to mind, but thanks, yeah.
Cool, perfect. Anyone from you, Webb?
I'd like to say hello to Tom. Hi, Tom. Tom.
Yeah, Tom. Can you hear us, Tom?
And interacts with every video. And Samantha Barton. I love you, Samantha Barton.
Did I ask who Samantha Barton is?
She's someone who incredibly enjoys Ian Landersman's videos.
Oh.
Very much so.
I need to go check out his videos and have a look.
Please do.
I will. For me, I think, to be honest, I shout out. I want to shout out everyone who subscribes to me. To be honest,
can I shout out Paddy as well, even though he couldn't make it?
You can, of course. Yeah, we'll bring up Paddy, but Paddy should have been on this. Unfortunately, he wasn't feeling well. But if you wanted Paddy, I did a live stream with Paddy again yesterday. It's on his channel. But by the time this comes out, it was the 18th of April that came out. So if you want to go check that out, and obviously there's one on my channel, there's two on his channel now. So, but yeah, we'll hopefully get Paddy on a podcast at some point because it's just a different kind of forum to the live streams. But yeah, unfortunately couldn't make it today. So shout out to him indeed. Who else? Well, the two to be honest, the main thing is the two guys, I wanted them on the podcast because number one, I think you're interesting people and I think you make good videos. And number two, if the best thing about getting that slightly more subscribers is that I can try, show channels I really like that I feel have way less than they deserve to more people. So that's going to be something I'm going to keep consistently trying to do. So if this is the first time you've ever come across WEB and Hachewie, make sure you go check them out on YouTube. There will be links in the description.
Can I shout out with Grant just to fuck with his head?
Yeah, go for it.
Nice one. Shout out Grant. What will Grant do? Subscribe.
Yeah, what would Grant do? Subscribe to Grant is such a funny guy. Like, he's hilarious.
I know, right?
Yeah, and I don't think he even knows how funny he is. But some of the stuff he comes out with, and like I was pissing myself laughing editing the podcast with him and Moto Dragon, because there's bits. Look, I had to cut them out because it was just Grant going off on a ramble, and I hope he has that video as well. So I hope he chops up those bits and put them back in. But some of the stuff he's coming out with was absolutely gold, and it was just fantastic. So. Maybe not for public consumption, some of it, but he's just a funny guy. But yeah, absolutely. Shout out what Grant. I'll throw a link in the description there too. And actually, if you want to even message me afterwards with the names, make sure I get the right links into the descriptions. Obviously, I know MotoG Spot and Way Pride. Ian Landisman, I don't think I'm subscribed to, so I'll go find him and I'll throw him into the description as well. And Tom, of course. Let's see. So anyone else want to shout out? Grom Trooper is still chipping away at his subscriber base.
All of the Shade Tree Army, like, let's come on.
Yeah, true. Literally everyone on the Shade Tree Discord, they're all absolutely brilliant. I don't think I've ever had a negative interaction on there. You were actually, someone was looking for you the other day, Webb.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Slow Ride CA was asking me, did I know where you ever coming back or why you'd left, etc. And I said, I'll tell him where you're looking from.
The problem is that because of the virus, means my income has decreased by quite an amount.
Yeah.
Therefore, superfluous expenditures, they have to stop. I'm sorry, but
it's fair.
Just
fair.
The way it is.
I had to cut back on quite a few. I used to patron quite a lot of people because I don't have cable or anything like that. I just refuse to pay for it. I think it's a waste of money for me because I never watch it. So that expenditure I was putting into people I liked watching who had Patreons, and I had to cut back quite a lot of them, and that upset me. But I'm still lucky. I still have my job full time, so I'm not paying any less. It's just I have to give other people some more money, if that makes sense, to help them out. But yeah, it's a pity because if all this hadn't happened, I would have an SV1000 in my shed right now. That would have happened. So whether that be a good or a bad thing, I don't know.
So I did a ride today, and I did a video today making fun of Hachewie and his state's choices on restrictions and such. One of the corners that I actually took, a really good friend of mine crashed his SV1000.
Oh, really?
I didn't make a comment on it because I was figuring like nobody cares that you've crashed his SV1000. But now you're saying that you wish you had an SV1000. This was an SV996, which I believe was the first generation one.
Yep. In
that sunburnt orange color, I think it was. Yeah, see, matches the t-shirt.
That's exactly what I want. Like, there's one still in the UK for sale that, if I knew that everything was going to be a-okay in 2 months, I'd probably call them and just be like, I want to buy it, please. But no, I'm going to be sensible and not go that route. I think it's the better option. So,
what are they worth over there in Euro?
You'd pick one up, so it depends, depending on condition and depending on the year. But if you're looking at the one I'm looking at,
like 100%, like
A1, so you're probably talking 3,500, I would say, for a 2003, 2004.
Okay, not bad. Okay, yeah,
it's not bad. Like the one I was looking at in England is £2,900, and I think once I got it from England back to here and registered and all that, it'd be about 3.5. So I would have been happy to pay that for that bike. Just because
can you do stuff dodgy, like put it on Northern Ireland reg and just ride it around as is, or do you have to actually physically like make it legit?
You could do that, provided you were okay with never stopping at a checkpoint or leaving your bike parked in a public space or something, just in case.
Oh, it's still that bad?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I had my tax disc robbed off the phaser before. It's why there's a couple of bolts missing from the phaser. I think someone just literally took a couple of bolts off it. They obviously had a phaser as well, and they took the tax disc.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So I've most of the bolts replaced now because it's actually hard to find some of them. But anyway, when I came back to the place where I had the bike parked, which was in centre Cork City, there was actually guards looking at it, and I was like, what happened to my bike? And they were like, you've no tax displayed. And I was like, what are you talking about? Of course I've tax displayed. I was like, it's right where the empty hole where it used to be is. You're right, there is no tax displayed, and I think my tax disc has been robbed. So I had to they had to make me make a report on it, and then I had to get a replacement one. And it was just a pain in the ass. So yeah, they can be serious about that. And that was just literally, they were walking past them and, hey, let's look at this bike and see, is there a tax disc displayed? All right, sure, they have something better to be doing. But anyway.
Sorry, I thought it was the north to south thing. Because you got to remember, I live with a Northern Irishman, so yeah, opinions on the south. So yeah, all that kind of stuff. But anyway,
that worked great, and definitely the better side of the country, is it?
I'm not getting interested. That's your guys can debate about that all night. I don't know enough about it to have a reasoned argument.
Yeah, better avoid that. So the last thing that I'll say just before we all say good luck, and this is the thing I did warn you about. If you could have one thing to say to a new rider, what would it be?
Ride within your means and don't try and follow anyone and keep up with them. Just go at your speed. Don't be a hero.
Good advice. Web?
Do a wheelie.
Also good advice. Just make sure it's on purpose. That's all I would say about that. Do a wheelie, but make sure it's on purpose.
Or do a stoppie, I don't mind, whatever.
Stoppies are fun.
So if you just hold the accelerator down full and then let the clutch out like that.
Yeah, you'd be fine. Probably.
Yeah, you will be fine. You'll be left standing in place and your bike will be off down the road somewhere. Slingshot out from underneath you. So to finish it off, look, number one, thanks again for coming on. Really appreciate it. Taking 2 hours out of your day. And I don't think people realize when you make these podcasts, it's quite a lot of time for the people to give up, in my opinion, to come on here. So muchas gracias.
It's also 2 hours of just chatting with your mates.
But
really.
that's it.
Yeah,
that's how I see it. But yeah, just for people watching to let people know it is in fairness 2 hours. So it's a lot of time. So thank you very much for that. And
thanks for having us, Michael.
No, not at all. And like I said, if you ever want to jump on a live stream, or if you ever think of another topic that you want me to film a podcast on, or send it to you while I have Zoom or whatever, just let me know. That's not a problem. So if you want to make your own ones, whatever.
How much does it cost for a month?
€18.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, it's not cheap. And hopefully Toaster didn't watch that bit because she might give out to me.
Well, if next time you ever need a Zoom meeting and you want me to host it, my work pays for it.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, I'll just blur all that and people will have no idea what you said. So it'll be really funny.
Yeah, that's right.
You leaning in going like... But yeah, no, look, appreciate it. And hopefully I keep doing these podcasts. I really like them. I think they're fun. So it's also obviously handy during the lockdown. So who do we have coming up? You would have seen by now Lucky Luke Rides in Kazawaki. That was a fun one. And obviously the two of you guys, which is right now, if people are watching this. Hopefully I also have Shade Tree Surgeon coming on, which is going to be very interesting. And a few more people. So if you have anyone you'd like me to get on a podcast, leave comment down in the comment section. I always nearly say description, and I don't know why. And I will do my best to bring them on and have a chat with them.
Yeah, I think Monkey Butt would be a good one. Get him on.
Oh, yes, most definitely. That would be awesome.
He's on my list. It's himself and... Because, like I said, I like to do it in pairs. So I have himself and someone else kind of lined up. I haven't asked him yet. I've asked the other person, and they're in. So it's just the case.
And there's Hef and homie Bill. They're friends.
Who's that?
Hef and homie Bill. I think they'd go pretty well. Yeah.
How do you spell
Hef's
that?
got numbers. HEFF.
HEFF and homie Bill. I must look them up because I don't think I watched them.
Homie Bill's a great guy.
He is a cool dude.
I'm writing down everything Webb is typing into the chat as well. So anyway, look, we'll let people go. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to comment in the description, as we've talked about. That's the main thing about my channel, is I like those comments. So leave that down there. If you did like the podcast, don't forget to like it. That does things for YouTube, I think. I have no idea. But it is nice when you see the numbers that are higher rather than lower. You scroll through your analytics. And don't forget to subscribe to WEB and Hachewie, most importantly. So
just subscribe to Hachewie, don't worry about the rest.
And Webb. Adios. Actually, now that I've said adios, do you have anything you want to say to the outro crew?
Hello.
Now's your chance, Webb. Outro crew challenge and Hachewie.
This is the name of the cheapest beer you can buy in Australia right now. Let GorillaBiker know what it's called, and you can buy it from one store only, Aldi.
Is that the only place you can get it?
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Can we send him a case?
Should we send him a case?
Yeah, all right.
I think we should.
Maybe a 6-pack is cheaper.
Yeah, it's probably really expensive to ship beer halfway around the world, or like mostly around the world.
I'll just wait till next time I'm in France, and I'll just take my luggage and then send it like 200 miles or whatever.
That could work. That could work.